Hello, my beautiful, beautiful friends. Happy Heart for Souls Sunday. I am so excited and delighted to be here, and thank you so much for choosing to join me today and to spend this time with me, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it at a later time. It really doesn't matter. It's about each of us sharing our hearts together as one. I'm going to go ahead and start as I always do with lighting some sage and then moving into our opening prayer. So get yourselves comfortable. We're going to be here for a little while, and this is our time. This is your time. Blessings of love, blessings of light, blessings of peace, blessings of grace. Heavenly Father, Great Spirit, we come before you upon this day. We open our hearts, we open our minds, we open our souls to clarity and to your understanding. We call upon the masters and the teachers to fill our hearts with knowledge, to guide our souls, to allow us to find internal peace, direction, and joy. We ask this in your precious name. Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so very much. I forgot to shut my phone off, so give me 1 second here. If I don't do that, somebody's going to call. You know, they always do. That's just the way that goes. All right, so today is going to be an interesting topic. It's going to be a little bit different in that yesterday I actually had the anniversary of my husband's passing, and I call it an angelversary. He's been gone 4 years now, and I was so blessed to have the opportunity to go spend the day with family and a few friends. And so that's always just a delight to be able to spend time with family and friends. And anyway, as we gathered, there was a group of 6 women and 4 men, and of the 6 women, 3 of us were widows. And I found that to be very surprising. I know that the world is changing, and I know that there is a lot of transition going on. And I understand that, COVID has come through. There's a lot of illness. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of accidents. There's a lot more chaos that's happening. But in a group of 6 women over the age of 30, to see that one was widowed 7 months ago and she has a 2-year-old son, and another was widowed a month ago and she has a 13-year-old son. And they looked at me and just were lost, just completely overwhelmed and lost. And I understand that essence of loss. And I understand even when you go through all kinds of different losses, and it may not even be a person, but it could be a job loss, and it can be the loss of what you knew. Maybe it's your home. Maybe it's just going out on a regular basis to the store and finding the items that you want or you need. There is so much transition that is happening in the world around us that really we all need to pay attention to. And we need to be gentle with ourselves through the process. So one of the things that I had done when, after my husband passed, which he was ill. He was ill for a while, and we couldn't identify all of what was going on. And it was terrifying because I watched my husband disappear in front of me. I didn't even recognize him anymore. The man that I knew was somehow shrouded in this essence and this cloud of anger and of regret and of illness and of becoming addicted to opioids and having the consequences of when they ran out and what else to run to for that survival. It was a complete state of chaos. It kind of feels like what we've all been living in, not really knowing that foundation of where we are. And for me, everything in my life completely blew up. We actually had another little house that was mine before we'd gotten our home. There wasn't a life insurance policy, and everything just went into complete state of chaos, and I had to go into emergency mode. And I think this is what happens with every single person. When you lose that mate, you go into an emergency mode. You definitely have physical things that happen to your body. There are different chemicals that specifically pull away from your skin. You're not able to sleep. You're not able to even have a coherent thought. I know that when the doctors told me when we were at the end of life and death decisions, I just folded over and started hyperventilating. I've never hyperventilated in my life before, but I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get air. I couldn't process the thought of what he was telling me, that I needed to make a decision. How could I make that kind of a decision? Who is I to be saying yes or no, or where are we? But really what it comes down to is the decision was already made. The illness was so great that it had taken over and had taken away all of his own functionalities. The brain capacity was diminished to such a level, and I'm grateful that somewhere along the line we had the forethought to actually create instructions of what to do, so it wasn't completely my decision alone, but it was his decision of what and how he wanted his quality of life. That's not for every single person. I understand that's not for every single person, but that is every single person's choice to prepare and to think about these things in your life ahead of time. What do you want, and what are you choosing to leave for your family to manage and to make decisions on and to be supportive through the processes? The other thing that's so important for each and every person to realize when you're going through these mass transitions is emotions. And you're going to have every single one of them. After a few months of me being in that space and finally getting some footing and bringing things back to some kind of an semblance of order, I was an emotional wreck. I couldn't still contemplate what was going on and where I was at. I was trying to go through every day and get it done. I can do it better. I can do it stronger. I have an incredible faith. I have spirit with me. I know I can do this. Well, sure, you can do this, but you have to do this. That's the key behind it. And I think that's the challenge. We don't want to. Nobody wants to feel all that muck and schmug of all of the density of that emotions that you're going through. I ran across this group that's called Grief Share. And it's a group that actually is renowned around the country. It is hosted at a lot of different Christian-based churches or facilities, or it could be Methodist. But anyway, it's a place where people who are going through mourning, and it doesn't matter, who you've lost, your parents, your children, your siblings. But we sat down the first day, and one of the things that we did was we read this list. And I'm going to read this list to you because it's pretty profound. Abandoned, afraid of facing emotions, ambushed by grief, anger with others, self, loved ones, and or God, anguish, annoyance, anxiety, apathy, avoiding church, avoiding grief, avoiding thinking about death, being harsh with others, betrayed, bitterness, blame. You can't pray, you can't talk about the loved one, change of priorities, comparing your grief to other people's, compassion, complaining, concerned about your family members, confusion, consumed by grief, crisis of beliefs, crying, dazed, denial, depending on God, depression, despair for justice, despair all over, devastation, disappointment, disbelief, disoriented, discouragement, disorganized, disoriented, distracted, driving others away. You don't want to go on. You're drained. You're drawing closer to God. You're dreading everything. Your emotional wreck, emptiness, encouragement, envy, exhaustion, weakness, fatigue, fear of the future, feeling judged, feeling like everyone is in a slow motion, feeling like everything is too hard, feeling like God isn't there, feeling like mush, feeling like something is missing, feeling like you're doing something wrong, feeling like you're doing everything wrong and you're losing your mind, feeling like your faith isn't working, feeling like your grief is disorganized, feeling out of control, feeling part of you is just gone, ripped away, feeling rushed, feeling like you're a burden, your financial worries, feeling so frustrated, feeling full of questions, going through the motions, guilt, hallucinations, happy your loved one is no longer suffering, heartbroken, heightened emotions, helping everyone but yourself, helplessness, hiding grief, hoping that something will change. You're hurt, you're impatient, you're in a dark tunnel. You feel gratitude that you finally have come to an ending, inadequacies, increased appetite, insomnia, internalizing the grief, intuitive thoughts. You're irritable, you're jealous, your lack of concentration, lack of focus, loneliness, loss of appetite, loss of identity, loss of purpose, making silly mistakes, memory loss, mental fog, missing your loved one, nervous, nightmares, no interest of doing anything, no sense of time, not allowing yourself to grieve, not enjoying what you used to enjoy, not trusting God, numbing the pain, out of control, overwhelmed, panic attacks, peace, physical problems, stomachache, heartache, your heart is hurting, nausea, hurting all over, migraine, shortness of breath, prayer, pretending you're okay, questioning your sanity, questions about heaven, rage, refusing joy, regret, rejection by friends, relief, roller coaster emotion, sadness, second guessing everything, self-pity, blame, shock, shutting down, shutting people out, sleeping a lot, totally disengaging from the world, social and irrational struggles, sorrow, squashed, staying busy, staying in bed, stress, suffering, stuffing down emotions, surprise, tangled emotions, thankfulness, tired you're the only one who can even understand you, turning to God, unable to make decisions, uncomfortable with others, unproductive, unwilling to accept help, vindictiveness, vulnerability, wanting to rush through this, worry, and everything else. These are common. These are real emotions. Every single one of them is a real emotion. And I was so shocked when I sat down and I read that list, and I'm like, I'm every single one of these. I'm every single one of these, and sometimes at the same time. You don't understand. You can't understand. You can't understand all of the emotions that you're feeling and how overwhelmed you are by just the simple things in life. It's not that the simple things changed what they are, but your abilities to function at that same capacity has changed. You have to think about everything differently. You have to recognize who you are as an individual, not as a couple anymore. And you have to call upon whatever resources that are out there to be able to help you function. If you are a parent of a young child, that's even more overwhelming because you're trying to support their emotions at the same time as your own. You're trying to make sense. You're trying to hold it together. You're trying to continue with some type of an essence of an income for survival, along with making sure that there's groceries in the refrigerator and a meal has been prepared. You're trying to create some essence of normalcy in an ever-changing, evolving, out-of-control situation. Yes, grief happens. Yes, death happens to each and every one of us. We are all going to experience that loss somehow, some way. The key behind it is you can't hide from it. You have to allow yourself to move through those emotions of it. Every single one of them. You have to set aside your own personal judgment and criticism to be able to allow yourself to experience all of those different feelings without judgment. Be gentle with yourself. It is so important to allow yourself time to feel those emotions because they're not going to just go away. You can stuff them down, you can try to avoid them, and I can assure you they're going to come back in your face so much harsher than they could have if you chose to deal with it during that time of transition. That doesn't mean you have to do it alone. There are all kinds of professionals that are out there. And I provide spiritual counseling myself for individuals who are going through change. And needless to say, as a spiritual advisor and psychic, I meet a lot of people who are going through that transition. They want to speak to their loved one once again. They want to be assured that they are okay. And I can tell you from the experiences that I have had and all of the different thousands of people that I have worked with, when I worked with loved ones, they're always at peace. And it doesn't matter whether they've committed suicide or they have died of natural causes. They are always at peace. There is regret sometimes after their passing for what they've left behind, but they are always in a place of peace and always in a place of love and always wishing for you to be in a better space and a place. It is so important. One of the things that I did that really helped me was I had to schedule appointments with my grief because I'm pretty coordinated and organized and I just kind of wanted to do things my way and I wasn't ready to let go. I had such a hard time allowing myself permission to be a basket case, to wail and to cry and to be angry and to be frustrated. One of the things that was really wonderful about that grief share group was one of the ladies had said it. She says, we come together and we each hold one another's hearts of our loved ones. We share the sorrows, we share the celebrations, and we allow ourselves to feel the emotions so that we can begin to heal. We heal by talking to others. We heal by sharing our emotions. We heal by allowing ourselves forgiveness and allowing ourselves to feel each and every thought. That grief is not just within your emotions. It impacts your mental abilities of trying to function and where am I at and how am I going to survive and what do I need to do now. And that is instinctual. They say don't make large decisions. Well, I can tell you one of the first things I did was I put my house on the market. I sold it. I moved. I lost my job through the grief process. But that allowed me to follow my soul's calling. God had a bigger plan for me, a better plan for me. I couldn't see it all. But I also know that my husband never would have allowed me to leave my day job. He would have been just a bit too nervous to follow that step of faith. But boy, he is with me now, and he's always with me, always sending little love messages. Our loved ones are always around us. They do come and visit. They do sometimes act as those guardian angels. They act as those messengers. They sometimes come as specific animals that are visitors. Sometimes individuals will see like a red cardinal or a butterfly. They'll come in groupings. You'll hear, you'll see, you'll feel. Sometimes you have your own little communication. You find that penny upright, and you know that that is your loved one saying, hey, pennies from heaven. You'll hear that song. Those verbiage, those words just kind of resonate in your mind, and you recognize that love of that loved one. Allow yourselves permission to really know and to feel that you're okay. It's okay to not have control of everything. That means you will question your faith. You will question the why. You will be angry, and I can assure you that the love that you receive always, even after being enraged, it's always there for you. It's always there with you, encouraging you and holding you through. One of the things that I remember, I couldn't breathe. I was so overwhelmed, and I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. And I was like, how could I be left alone and I can't breathe? And one of the messages that I received was the angels came in and they told me very specifically, all of us rush around you and hold you so tightly, hold and embrace you so tightly that we almost squish the breath out of you. Now, isn't that a different concept? It's not that you're left alone. There's so much love coming to you and embracing you and holding you that it almost crushes you. You're not alone. You've got so many around you. They're all fighting and vying to send that love energy to you. That's a whole different concept of how you deal with and the journey that you're walking on. You're not alone. They're all with you. And they all are supporting you. But it's about you allowing yourself gentleness and peace. Allowing yourself permission to not have it all together. Allowing yourself to try not to make monstrous decisions while you're in the throes of it. But to be able to continue in that survival mode. Big decisions sometimes just have to be made. You have to go on. You can ask for help. You don't have to have all the answers. You're not the first person who has walked this path, and you're certainly not going to be the last. Allow others to hold your hand. Allow others to shine their light and to hold you through the time and the space and the challenges of each of these decisions. Allow for somebody else to take your kids for a night so you can have that time to fall apart. I can assure you, after you take those times to really let loose, you're healing, and a better you will be there to support your family afterwards. Allow yourself permission to be in the space of unknowing, and in that space of grief, allow that love to hold you, and allow your family members to hold you as well. Well, you know, I always like to drop into trance, and I know I've talked quite a bit today, but this is an important subject. This is a very important topic for each of you to recognize. You are loved for exactly who you are. Allow yourself permission to love yourself through all of who you are for healing as well. I'm going to drop in. I've got God Source who's going to come in today. Ah, my dear, precious, precious ones. I know and understand there is great anxiety and emotions that are all enthralled within that essence of grief, of loss, of lack of understanding, of anger and bitterness towards me, towards your own lives, towards unfinished, with regret and judgment and criticism, and sometimes relief, and sometimes self-regret for feeling the relief of not being in the middle of the chaos, but finally in a presence of control of self. Grief is a part of life. Everything in life has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. Being there, choosing to be there while a loved one is passing, is truly the greatest gift one can offer to that loved one. Choosing to hold them through so that they do not leave alone. I want to remind each of you that I am there along with so many other loved ones, are waiting for each of you when the time comes for you to pass. When the time comes for you to return home. What you will take with you is the memories of all of that love and that spiritual growth that you have embraced upon this lifetime. It all goes with you. You continue to send your love energy back to your friends and family members for their betterment of. Life continues. Life evolves. Life expands. But that love never ever dies. That love can't die. It is a living essence of energy that is always there, expanding and sharing more of. I want to remind you, each of you, that you do not embark upon this journey alone. There is an army of angels, masters, teachers, guides, your guardian angels. So many different ancestors are there with you, holding you, embracing you, supporting you, and sending you messages to hold you through these transformative times. It is about you truly allowing yourself to move through, to grow through, to become more. You know as well as I do, the greatest growth that ever happens is through a challenge of new. It allows you the ability to create new patterns. This is what is happening in the world around each of you. The chaos is allowing for creations of new patternings, of new opportunities, of new ways of thinking, of new ways of living. I encourage each of you to be in the moments of, to embrace your soul, to celebrate the memories, light candles, hold vigils, hold celebrations of light. Allow yourself to be, to remember, to embrace, to tell stories, to share the joys of the lives. Each and every life, the amount of pain that is within your heart is a reflection of the amount of love that you experienced. How your life would have been hollow without all of those layers of love. Allow yourself to be all parts of life, all layers of love, and to feel all aspects of joy. Forgive yourself for the emotions that you find overwhelming that you should not have. There is no should in life. It is all about embracing all aspects so that you can be all brilliance thereof. Many blessings to each of you, my dear precious, precious ones. And remember, that love that I have for you, for all of you, is eternal, is all-encompassing, and is never-ending. Many blessings, dear precious, precious ones. Many blessings to each of you. That was a lovely message by God Source to each of us. That's right, to each of us. There's not one of us who will not feel and go through the experience of loss and grief and celebration of life. Celebration of having the opportunity to have those loves in our lives. So I want to remind you, you're not walking the path alone. So don't try to do it alone. Reach out to those around you. Allow the others to hold your hands and your hearts to help you to understand and embrace the brilliance of you that's going through an adjustment, that's going through a transformation, but is still always celebrating the brilliance of the lessons of that love and all the colors and the delight of that love. Well, I want to go ahead and take a couple of minutes to tell you about some things that are coming up. Next month is crazy busy. October, obviously, is just filled with all kinds of different events. October 1st, I'll be in Casadega. We've got Engage Your Earth Energies. I've got Talk and Stick Circle. I'll be at the Healing Arts Festival in Ormond Beach at Ha House Yoga on the 9th. The 15th and 16th of October, I'll be in Port St. Lucie doing Spirit Fest. Then Casadega again on the 29th and 30th. We're doing a fall festival, so offering all kinds of mini readings. The month is just jam-packed with so many brilliant opportunities to celebrate the fall, celebrate the harvest, to be able to celebrate life, and to be able to receive some little mini messages from your loved ones or from your angels, from God Source that tells you and gives you a bit more guidance and direction. Please come and visit me at my website, heart4souls.com or spiritualservices.online. And I do still have a couple of rooms left for Peru. A couple of people have had to cancel from what they thought they were going to be able to go. So I do have a couple of options left. That's going to be in late February, early March. I've got week-long trips. That's a journey of really growing yourself. And sometimes when you're going through that massive loss, it's a time to really get to know yourself and allow your spirituality to grow. So anyway, I do hope that you come and visit me at my website or any of these different places that I'm visiting, spiritualservices.online. Let's go ahead and do our closing prayer. So please join me. Heavenly Father, Great Spirit, thank you. Thank you for the blessings of this day. Thank you for the blessings of my beautiful and precious guests here. Allow each of them to move through the transitions in their lives, the waves of grief and loss. Allow them to reach out beyond themselves to find comfort, to celebrate the moments of joy, and to find peace and balance in their lives once again. Love is the most precious gift that any of us can have. We are so filled with gratitude for the love of each other and the opportunity to have those loves in our lives. Thank you for allowing us to embrace the brilliance of that love. We ask this in your precious name. Amen. Thank you all so very much for today, for your time. Many blessings to each of you. Bye-bye.